But first, it's presentation time. And the first one going to Steve Stott, who's had a very, very good season. Had a bit of a hiccup just after the Christmas period. Got sent off. But he's run himself ragged for the Rovers cause this season. And there we saw director George Perry presenting the cup to Stevie Stott. Well deserved indeed. Now, this one was won last year by the late John Heel. It's an award that goes to, if you like, part-time employees or would-be stewards of the club who just, in their own time, help Bromsgrove Rovers. Always behind the scenes. People who pay their money, the supporters, have no idea of all the hard work that goes on. And it's people like this one, Steve Kidderminster, who gets the award this year. Who does all that work. And it's also a joint award with Dave Besley, who you see on the right in the brown there. So Dave and Steve, well done. All sorts of weather, never miss a home game, always there, making the teas, making the drinks, organising the footballs, countless jobs that they do. Impossible to separate them. So Dave and Steve won the award between them. I think that's the first time, I could be wrong, but I think that's the first time that award has actually been shared. Now for the Bromsgrove Messenger Advertiser Award. And again, it's been won by Steve Stott, who gets a little kiss there. Oh, by the way, by the time we all see this particular tape, let me tell you that Steve and Amanda will now be Mr. and Mrs. Stott, as they flew away to Scotland to get married in some sort of castle up there, I gather. So congratulations to Amanda and to Steve. And Steve's staying about because he's been told by George Perry that he's got another award. This one comes from All Saints Garage, and he's always chosen annually by the financial director, and that's Harvey Morrison with the award there. Many thanks, of course, from everybody on the board, Bromsgrove, to All Saints Garage for being our long-term and main sponsor. Not just sponsorship, of course. Harvey and his young lady Sharon, very keen and dedicated Rovers supporters. So, at last, in the early evening sunshine, with a crowd of almost 2,000, Bromsgrove Rovers and Kidderminster Harriers meet, as I said, for the second time in just 3 days, to decide the outcome of Worcestershire's Cup final. Another award's been introduced the last couple of seasons. We'd all forgotten about this one. It's George Brooks who started this one after his son died in the Hillsborough tragedy, and it's for the goal of the season, and we'd all made up our mind who was going to get it until Nicky Clark scored the only goal with his head against Kettering in that 1-0 win. And it was such an important goal, keeping us in the Vauxhall Conference, that it was decided unanimously that Clarkey should get it. And the final award of this season goes to veteran, and he won't mind me saying that, I know, veteran Ron Green, who every time we're short helps out. And of course he's been with us since the sale of Scott Cooksey. And that, in fact, of course, I'd forgotten for a moment, is the Ron Teese Memorial, father or late father of director John Teese. And so, we're at it, at last. Kidderminster, of course, in the red and white, Bromsgrove Rovers in the green and white. And I'll tell you now about the the saga of Simon Berger. We all thought he wouldn't be able to play because, as we all know, Simon's heavily involved in this church, and he has a very important function to attend. But after some soul searching and some hoping and praying, Bobby Hope included him, thankfully, on the strict understanding that he would only play 45 minutes and would then be released. But nobody was actually told about this. We all noticed, however, that when he came out at half-time that he'd gone. In fact, he'd sloped out through the executive club, round the back of the crowd and out quietly. But we'd all been told that he'd strained his ankle and couldn't play in the second half. But what he did in the first half, as you'll see in a few moments, was totally tie up, almost single-handed at times, the Harriers' defence. The first game had been a bit lethargic over at Agborough, but this one panned out to be a most entertaining and exciting, and as far as Rovers were concerned, rewarding cup final. Far different from the first game at Agborough. Rovers, of course, still without their two internationals, still without Jimmy Skelding, still without Mark Crisp. So in came that young man there, Chrissy Pearce again. In came Lee Young. That, of course, that attack down the right was a feature of Harriers' season. They've been very strong, able to overlap and attack down the right wing, and also in the first leg of this cup final had caused many problems to our defence. Obviously missing Stuart Brighton, who could perhaps have helped out there, but Nicky Clark, who played as well as anybody has played for Rovers this season in this particular game. You know, sometimes when two teams play each other twice in the matter of days, as you sometimes find in, say, FA Cup games or whatever, sometimes you get a bit of niggle, you get a bit of bad temper and resentment, and it bubbles over into the second game. But thankfully, that didn't happen. The two sets of players went out and competed for sure. But there was no acrimony hung over from the first game. Both teams just wanted to win. Both teams set the stall out to do that. And there's Simon Berger involved already. Bit of uncertainty, unusual uncertainty in the Kidderminster Harriers defence there, which enables Rovers to have another corner. But of course they easily clear. Stevie Taylor hits a good and hopeful ball there. I think, in all honesty, Rovers perhaps were a bit fortunate to get away with that. One or two of the referee's decisions smacked of leniency, but I think all the official was trying to do was to enable the game to keep rolling along. No one wants a stop-start game, of course. Simon Berger involved again. Chrissy Pearce plays a nice one there with Ricky Carter, involves Simon Berger again. And Kidderminster Harriers now, I think, are beginning to appreciate they've got a game on their hands. Stevie finds Paul Macefield in the second session at Bromsgrove Rovers, and unfortunately it's a bit energetic. Paul deputised extremely well actually for Jimmy Scolding at the very end of the season there, and I think we're all thankful that he'd returned to us from Preston North End.